wrap around the house. And what we have is a WASR AK-47, and the bolt is sticky. I'm going to put this in the holder here a second, and you can see what I see here a sec. Okay, the bolt is sticking. See that? Now what we have is a hammer makes contact with all the parts underneath on your bolt carrier, and it is sticky. Let me tell you, it is sticky. So let's take the spring out and just show you the spring doesn't have anything to do with it. You see that? The hammer is right now sitting in that recess, right in there. You can see that it's pushing, sitting right in this recess right here, sitting right down in here. Here's your hammer, right there, and that's sitting right down in there, and it's hitting this, and it's sitting between that. So what has to happen is this little, you know, it's like a cam almost. It needs to be smoothed out. I was thinking about smoothing this out a little bit too, maybe taking a little bit off. You can see that your extractor goes all the way through this bolt. There's a lot of metal there. If you take a little bit off here, I don't think it's going to harm anything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing apart a second, and I won't even do that on camera, mainly because I'll probably snap the living crap out of my fingers with this spring. Usually I put a wire tie around there and tighten it down so I don't get snapped by that. But I'm going to take this apart. Once I get the hammer out, I'll turn you back on, okay? We have got the hammer out. Isn't that exciting? And it is exciting. It's no snapping of the fingers. I put the little twist tie on around there and got it out of there. I did have to use a little bit of a, I had to push it out with this little punch. For some reason, just decided it was hung up a little bit, but hey, it happens. So I unhung it up with a punch. But anyways, this is what we're experiencing anyways. Let's see if we can kind of give you a little bit of a visual here. What's happening is this looks something like this inside the rifle, okay? Let me pay attention to the camera too. And what happens is it rides down and bang, it's hitting right there. You see that? That's where it's hitting. And that is unacceptable. We want that to be as smooth as we can get it. And gosh, I guess what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to actually file the surface down a little bit. And you know what? If I mess it up, I can always get another hammer. They're not very expensive. But again, let's just take a look at this again. You know, everything rides like this. And that's hitting. And boy, let me tell you, that's sticky. That is sticky. So I'm just going to, I don't really even know if, I don't know where, if that's the mark that we're seeing. That's actually, let me get something to point it out here a second. I've got this little punch. See this right here? I don't really know if that's the problem right there. I think that's what we're experiencing. Is it's face planting that into this, and that is what we're going to try to smooth out. So I'm going to do a little bit of filing here. You don't want to watch me file, but I will give you a profile shot that we can look at, and I might even trace it and see how much I eliminated. That might help you a little bit too. So I'm going to go ahead and do that a second. A little bit of machining on this. And let's see if you can see the difference at all. Let's get this where we can see it. Right like that. Right there. Now can you see on the front, I took a little bit off, just a little bit. And then on the hump on the back here, I took a little bit off. Let's see if I can point to it a little bit. See right here? And you can see right here. Whoops, she fell over. But you can see that where I did, in fact, take a little bit off. And we are going to see if that actually helps. Let's see if we can get a little bit better light on that too. Maybe this will help you to see it. Let's see if I can manipulate the camera. Well, hopefully you get the idea. So let me put this in the camera holder again. Okay. Hopefully you can see. Now what you want to do too is make sure that this is clean after you get all the shavings off it Of course, it's an AK-47 with all the, it can run in mud and all that, but let's make sure that we get most of the filth and stuff off it if we can. I already blew it off, but I always like to wipe it off a little bit on a clean. That is not clean. That's what we use for wiping the dirty rag off, or the dirty parts of the gun off initially, to get all the carbon and stuff off. What I do too is I grab a drywall. This is for drywall, just a screen. And it does an excellent job of taking off any rough edges. Of course, it's not made for this, but this piece of sandpaper, they call it, for drywall, it just it works really good. Once you've used it on drywall a couple times, it's not worth much anyway. So, but for steel, it does do a good job. Let's get some of the shavings off. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back into the rifle. And I'll turn you back on in a second after I throw it back in the rifle, and we'll see how it goes. So, we've got the hammer back in. It wasn't too tough. Let me take the, well, let's put this in a holder first. It wasn't too bad. It really is that bad, but we're going to take this off and let the springs go back. Take our hook, let them fly. Oh, I see, they're kind of hooked with each other. I tell you, I've been whacked by these things so many times until I got wise and started putting a twist tie around them. That helped out a lot. See if I can get that out of there. Okay. Move that over there. Okay, that's where it should be. And also, I don't know if any of you have ever had this spring come loose in here. You have a retaining clip or spring that hold these in. Boy, I tell you, I had it. This, which controls the hammer that backed out just a little bit, and it cocked the hammer a little bit, and I would pull a trigger and it would shoot twice. Very scary. So just make sure that everything's tight, and to do that, what I do is after I'm done, is I push on that and push on that. That's in there. It's not going anywhere. So now that we've got our hammer back in, let's see if a little bit of work we did here actually is fruitful. Oops. It's quite a bit better. Let's see if it will actuate without me. Yep. And that's with no oil, of course. It is clean though. I did clean it. But even at slow, even if I go nice and slow, it won't hang up anymore. Now, is it like butter? No, it's not like butter. Is an AK-47 going to be like butter? Well, I imagine if I put enough work into it, it would be. I still think that if we were to take a little bit off of that, right there, with the file, we were to file that a little bit, and I still may do that. And in fact, I will do that. What the heck? It's not against the law, is it? So what we'll do is we'll take you off here a second, and we'll file it. We're going to do just a hair bit of filing, more like polishing. We're going to polish all this stuff out right. Whoops, let's get you where you can, where I'm talking. Get you where I'm talking, right there. We're going to take all that off because that's rough. That's really rough. Oops, I got you upside down. Hang on. There we go. That's a little better, huh? Okie doke. So what we have is we have taken, let me get my pointer here. And this is something you can do at home. It's so easy. Just take it, and all I did is I took, again, I have this drywall sander that has this really rough, and I wish I could remember what the name of it is. I don't have any of it left, but it's like a Scotch Brite, and I can't remember if it's carbide or what the material is on the screen, but it does polish steel really well when you're done with it for drywall, and it does no longer works very well as drywall. Boy, it will just polish the living crap out of your steel parts, and it doesn't take much meat off it. So, but we didn't take much off anyway, so we just filed it a little bit, or not filed it, and I used the 3M cloth on it. So we'll put a drop of oil here, and again, this is just synthetic 30 weight with a little bit of compressor oil, and you can see that it's not terribly thick. It's pretty viscous. It flows pretty nice. And it works really well for keeping these parts oiled inside of a, you know, the small little parts inside of a rifle. So I put you in a holder and we'll throw this back in the rifle and see how it actually works. There we go. And there's a rifle. And let's throw the bolt assembly in. There we are. Put the spring in. Let's see if it's as sticky as it was before. Okay, spring's in. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, see? Well, oh, it's almost popped out. See that? Let's see if we can get it to stick. Nope. It will not. It will not stick in the open position now. So we have had some degree of success. Now, if I wanted to, and I probably will yet this afternoon, is I'll take a little bit more off it right here, because it's still got just a little bit of a hang up there. I can still feel it grabbing. I can still feel it grabbing inside there, and you can see. I don't know if you can see, but I can see because I'm here in person, where it's still hitting pretty hard right in here. And we could probably just take a little bit off there and polish that up too and get her a little smoother. But that's the way it goes. So, let me say goodbye to you. That's a very easy AK-47. If you want to smooth that action out, and I did, it was sticking and I needed to be done. It's very simple. You can do it. This is the first time I've done it. I just went online and looked at it and just looked at the components and the parts and how they fit together and just polish them out and file them out a little bit. It'll all work out okay. This is Hap for Hap Around the House. If you like our content, subscribe. Thanks.